Okay, I want to talk to you about, can St. Augustine overtake Bermuda? I always get asked that question, and right here is Mr. Hall's lawn, and I take care of this property. And for about 5 or 6 years, Mr. Hall had Bermuda. His whole lawn was Bermuda at one time, and for some reason he didn't want to treat it and keep the St. Augustine out of the lawn any longer. He wanted to go ahead and let the St. Augustine take over his lawn. He didn't resod. He has neighbors behind him and on both sides of the backyard, and their St. Augustine came in and started overtaking his lawn. Let's take a look at it and I'll give you a better idea of, how much St. Augustine Mr. Hall had and how much grass now is filled in with St. Augustine and no longer Bermuda. If you can take a look over here, Brandon, let me show you. If you look at his backyard, this whole backyard, this is about a 4,000 square foot backyard, and it was all Bermuda. Let's keep walking and take a look at this yard. If you look now, 95% of this lawn is St. Augustine now. He didn't resod anywhere. What happened was he kept the St. Augustine healthy on the outside of the fence. The neighbor had St. Augustine in front of him, or not in front of him, but beside him, and also on the back side of this fence. And that St. Augustine gradually came in and started overtaking the Bermuda. So to answer the question, can St. Augustine overtake Bermuda? Yes, it can. I mean, this is a perfect example. Look at this whole backyard. There's a small area right here that's still Bermuda grass, but 95% of this has been taken over by St. Augustine. St. Augustine's a more dominant grass. It's a wider blade, and it'll just start to choke out that Bermuda over time. So be patient. If you got a small spot, if there's St. Augustine that surrounds that area, it will take over that Bermuda spot. Just be patient. Keep that St. Augustine real good and healthy around the outside, and keep it well watered, and it'll start to move in. Let's take a look at this spot real quick, Brandon. Right here is about a 5%, a little bitty spot in the lawn. That's Bermuda. If you look on the outside of the Bermuda, here's your Bermuda right here, and here's your St. Augustine. If you look in this spot where the Bermuda is, look on the outside of the Bermuda spot, Brandon, and you'll see St. Augustine that surrounds it. So what's happening is that St. Augustine, as it stays healthy, gets plenty of moisture, it's going to start to close in on that Bermuda and start choking it out. But I wanted to answer that question for everybody that wonders, well, can I get my Bermuda choked out by the St. Augustine? Here's a perfect example. This whole backyard was Bermuda, and now look at how much of the St. Augustine is taken over. So don't let anybody tell you the St. Augustine can't choke out the Bermuda. It can, and this is a perfect example. This whole backyard used to be Bermuda, now it's St. Augustine.